Let's make some crawling steak bites. So for this bread, add 1 cup of drained and chopped marinated artichoke hearts. I chopped these up nice and finely and added them into the food processor. I absolutely loved marinated artichoke hearts. I just eat these all the time as a little snack. They're so yummy. Add 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, chop up a jalapeno pepper and add in 2 tablespoons of that and 1/4 tablespoon of black pepper. And then we're just going to mix that up, and then I put it in a bowl and put it in the fridge for a while, kind of let it get cold and thicken up. I was really trying to time this properly for wine night. I didn't want the steak to be sitting out forever. So that was probably the most difficult part of this recipe, was just making sure that it was timed for when people got there, but I also wasn't still cooking. I hate being stuck still cooking while people are walking in. It's very stressful. I like to be fully ready. So getting these done at the right time was very important. At this point, our sourdough is finished, and then we cut it into little pieces, put some olive oil on it, and toasted it in the oven. And then it was time to cook the steak. So we seasoned the steak with some salt and pepper, added in some garlic. And then part of this recipe is that the steak is kind of almost raw, which is what gives it sort of that Halloween vibe. So we cooked it exactly as the recipe told us. You just kind of sear each side in hot oil for 4 minutes until it has kind of a brown crust. And then you let it rest for 5 minutes. And then when you cut it open, it's pretty raw. And both of us kind of looked at each other and were like, none of our friends are going to eat this. So we did decide to cook it a little bit longer. We ended up putting it into the oven for a little while just to make it a little bit more medium as opposed to so rare. Know your audience, you know? And then while that was happening, we got out our little pieces of bread and we added in our jalapeno artichoke spread onto that. Once our steak was done and a little bit more how we would like them, we added them onto our little pieces of bread and took a bite. The only thing I would say about this recipe that I would change besides cooking the steak a little bit longer is that I would make them smaller. At least the bread part. I feel like the bread was really big. The steak kind of shrinks up the more you cook it, right? And so I feel like the pieces of bread were way too big. I would make them more of a bite. This is something you had to eat in like 2 or 3 bites. I think everything I made that night, I made just slightly too big. So one major suggestion, cut your bread into little tiny bite-sized pieces, and then I think they would be perfect. Make sure to make these for your next Halloween party. Super simple recipe, super delicious. Or maybe even just make the artichoke jalapeno spread. So yummy. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.